The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or APR. They tell us the number to put into your mortgage calculator so you can find out what your principal and interest payment will be each month for that loan. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, ronismylender.com, ronismylender.com, great mortgage calculator right there. What did the rates do yesterday? Well, 30-year conforming rates down just a little bit, 6.756. The 30-year jumbo loans up 7.18. 30-year FHA loans down 6.583. 30-year USDA loan 6.697. That was up quite a bit. And the VA loan 6.352. Best loan on the market for our veterans with no money down. That is an option on there if you qualify. There are some instances where maybe you want to put some money down. But let's start looking at that. We want to keep track of that one because we're starting to get into the area where if you got a veterans loan, a VA loan in the last 18 months, might be looking for the interest rate reduction loan. That is one part of the veterans program. And again, if you want to get our market commentary, we do put that out each morning as early as the data allows, rsrmarketminute.com. S&P 500 now up 15.99. The 10-year Treasury down 4 basis points. It's been jumping around this morning. That is a yield is down 4 basis points. The 30-year mortgage bond, that's up 6 basis points. The bond is up, which means interest rate is down, but it's only 6 basis points, so it's not going to even be an eighth of a point in interest. So don't worry about that one too much. What is driving all of this? That's what we're here to talk about because all those numbers, you can get that on the super secret website, google.com. So let's take a look and see Jerome Powell speech at the Economic Club of Washington, D.C. So he was chatting. Fed's not going to wait for inflation to get to 2% before cutting rates, but rather they're going to cut when they are confident that inflation is heading to their 2% goal. And Powell said yesterday that the last 3 inflation readings have given him more confidence. Powell also brought up the employment side of their mandate and how he is watching that closely. If there is unexpected weakness in the labor market, that could lead to a rate cut as well. He also talked about the economy slowing and likely growing at 1.5%, but almost dismissed a hard landing or recession, saying that it's not the most likely scenario. We're already there, Jerome. Sorry. When asked what keeps him up at night, he said it's cutting too soon and inflation coming back versus cutting too late and causing recession. Bottom line, he sounded more dovish and like someone who wants to cut rates. He seemed more confident with the inflation data than we've previously heard. We also heard from San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly, who was a voting member this year. She said that confidence is growing, that inflation is heading to 2%, but she needs a lot more information before making any real determination. Remember that next week we're going to be getting some very important news, including the QCEW Q4 job revisions. That's where the real jobs numbers come from, not from the BS report that we get out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. June core PCE reading, we're going to get that one as well, which is expected to fall from 2.6 to 2.4. If we see much weaker than expected job growth confirmed in Q4 and 2.4% core inflation, think that might be the information that Mary Daly is looking for. Retail sales for the month of June were unchanged at 0%, which was weak and in line with expectations. However, the reading was revised higher from 0.1% to 0.3%, but it makes today's report stronger. Additionally, the headline reading was dragged down by weak automobile and gasoline sales. Core reading, which gets plugged into GDP, rose 0.9%, which was much stronger than estimates and will likely lead to some higher GDP revisions. According to Peter Bookvar, bottom line, I've gone through countless consumer-touching earnings conference calls over the past few months and provided you with all that I have found important And the only portion of consumer spending that is doing well comes from the higher end. The lower to middle income consumer is stretched, extremely value conscious, and focused on needs and not wants. Thus, not reading today's data is evidence of a strong consumer, unquote. That's from Peter Bookvar. So the consumer having problems, we better be careful. Cass Freight, in contrast to the retail sales report, we saw a weak Cass Freight index June release. Goods need to be shipped across the U.S. to be sold, and the shipments components of the Cass Freight report fell 1.8% in June to a 4-year low. Shows less economic activity and a slowing economy. And as we've talked about before, the consumer needs education. The latest Fannie Mae study showed that most consumers don't know how much they need for a down payment. We know that. Have you looked at the results from our FHIQ quiz? You can take that rsrlinks.com/FHIQ to see what consumers know about the finance. rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. It's free. It only takes a couple of minutes, maybe less than that. Only 10% know you can buy a house with 5% down or less. That's with all of consumers. Only 10% know you can buy with 5% less. But even those actively shopping for a home, only 1 in 7 or 14% know that you can buy a home with 5% down or less. Median amount of people think you need 15 to 20%. We've talked about that one before. You do not need 15 to 20%. That's a myth. So why are people still thinking that? Well, it's kind of scary, but it is what it is. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. It's brought to you by RonIsMyLender.com. Go check that out. Get the mobile app.